Okay, so we're going to continue on, and the first problem we're going to work on is this one right here. This one is asking for find the amount of increase and the percentage increase. And you can see we have a box here. We have two values that are known, the original amount and the new amount. And they want to know what the amount of increase is and the percentage increase. Recall, I did send this out. There's a sheet that you can refer to for any of your equations. I have this sent to you through email. And I'm going to use this first equation here, which is percent of increase. And I wrote it out over here on the whiteboard. So the percentage of increase equals the amount of the increase divided by the original amount. Now you can see we have the original amount, but we don't have the amount of increase yet. So to get this value here, the amount of increase, you just take your new amount and subtract it by the original amount. It's the same thing as going into the store and you see something and you say, oh, it's $70 now. Well, it was originally $50, and you can subtract that in your head and see what the increase was. So the amount of the increase is $20. And we just subtract the 70 by 50 to come up with that value. But now that we have that value, we can go ahead and plug that into our equation so we can come up with the percentage of increase. So the equation states that if we take this amount of increase, which is 20, and we divide it out by our original amount, which is 50, that will give us our percentage of increase. Now, when I go ahead and I plug that into the calculator, you should have an answer of 0.4. But that's in decimal form. So I'm going to multiply it by 100 so I can get a percent, and that is 40%. So when you plug in 0.4 times 100, you should end up with a value of 40. So that is 40%. So those would be my two answers that I would plug into my problem over here in my Labs Plus. So the amount of increase, the first answer, we would plug that in. Once you press enter, then it'll give you the option to plug in for your percentage of increase. Okay, so moving on. Now you're going to have a problem where it's asking for the amount of the decrease and the percentage of that decrease. So again, you can go to your sheet and you'll see there's an equation there at the top for a percent of decrease. But first we need to come up with our amount of decrease before we can use this equation. So if we go back to our problem and we look at it, and if we're given the original amount is $24 and our new amount is 18. So again, when you're going into the store and you see that, oh, it was originally $24 and it's only 18 now, if you subtract it, you'll end up coming with the amount of decrease. So that value is 6. Now we can use that in our equation. So our percentage, to get that, we take our amount of decrease, which is 6. Oops, sorry about that. Which is 6. And divided by the original amount, which is 24. And when you plug that into the calculator, you should end up with a decimal value of 0.25. But we want that as a percentage, so we're going to multiply it by 100. And you should end up with a value of 25, which is 25%. And there's our percentage of decrease, which is 25%. Okay, so the next problem is based on sales tax, and this is for a table saw. So we're going to start evaluating and looking at what values they give us. So you can see the sales tax is given, which is $8.16, and it's also providing a sales tax rate, which is 5.1%. So going back to our equation sheet, you can see right here the sales tax and the total purchase price. These two equations we're going to use. So let me go ahead and explain it to you. So if we have a table saw, and I'm going to look to see what information they're providing me. So I could see that they gave me a sales tax. So I'm going to write that in, $10.80. Now the sales tax rate, they gave me that also, which is 7.2%. Now I don't have the purchase price or the total price, but I'm going to start working with this equation first, and this is from my sheet. So the sales tax, I see that's $10.80 is equal to, and then I have a tax rate, which is 7.2%. And then I'm going to multiply that by my purchase price, which I don't know. So that's my unknown. That's my first unknown value. So before I can start solving for x, I need to convert this 7.2% to decimal form. Remember, to do that, just multiply it by 0.01. Sorry about that. So 7.2 times 0.01. When you enter that into the calculator, you should have a value of 0.072. So I'm going to rewrite that as 10.80 equals 0.072 times x, so that's just x. Now I'm just going to divide it out. That divides out to 1. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. And when you plug that into the calculator, x should equal 150. Okay. So remember, our x was representing the purchase price. So we just solved that. So I'm going to write that in as 150. Now the total price, that equation, going back to my sheet, the total price is your purchase price plus the sales tax. So I'm going to go back over, I'm going to see the purchase price, which is 150, plus my sales tax, which is $10.80. And that will give me my total price. So when I plug those into the calculator, I should come up with a value of $160.80. So that's my total price. And I just wrote the formula out for you. The total price equals the purchase price, which is $150, plus our sales tax, which is the $10.80. Okay, you're also going to have a problem where it's going to ask for you to find the amount of the discount and the sale price. So recall, this is also on this equation sheet. If you look the fourth one down, there's the amount of discount, which is the discount rate times the original price. And the sales price is the original price minus the amount of discount. So let me show you how that works. So going over to the board, the given values are the original price and the discounted rate. So let's use the first equation and we'll just start plugging in so we can come up with the amount of the discount, which is the third one down, and we don't have a value for that. So we have a discounted rate, which is 30%, and we need to multiply it by its original price. But before we can do that, we need to take our 30% and multiply it by 0.01. And when we do that and we plug it into the calculator, you should end up with a result of 0.3. Okay, so I'm going to take that down here and I'm going to take 0.3 and multiply it by 70. And once you enter that into the calculator, you should end up with a result of 21. So that is our amount of our discount. I'm going to write that in. So that's 21. Now I need my sale price. So my original price is $70 minus, and my amount of my discount, I just figured that out, which is 21. When I plug that into the calculator, I should end up with a value of $49. So that's the other unknown we had to solve for. So our next problem is based on commissions. Go to your equation sheet. You can see here commissions equals the commission rate times the sales. Now when we go back to our problem, we're going to read and find out what values they gave us. So it looks like here they gave us the commissions, and they also gave us the sales, because it reads a salesperson earned a commission of $1,041.70 for selling 9,470 worth of paper products. Selling means that was the sales. So let's go over and try and apply this. So if I was given a commissions of 1,285 and the sales were 8,570, I know that I'm missing the commission rate, and that's what I'm looking to solve for. So when I go to my equation sheet, I can see I have the commission, so I'm going to go ahead and start filling in those numbers. So the commissions was $1,285 is equal to, let me rewrite that, $1,285 is equal to, now the commission rate, I don't have that, so I'm going to just write a variable, I'll just use the letter X, times the sales, which we know were $85.70. So now we're just going to solve for X. So that's $1,285 equals $85.70X. And we know to get rid of that, get it off the X, we divide it out. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other. We know this divides out to ones. And when you plug that into your calculator, you should end up with the value of X equals 0.15. And remember, this commission rate is a percentage. And the percentage, we have to make sure we multiply this by 100. And once you do, you will get a value of 15%. So that's the last value we're looking for right there. This is our last problem. This problem, we're looking to solve for the simple interest. This is on our equation sheet. Just to show you, that's down here towards the bottom, the simple interest, which is your principal times your rate times your time. And if you notice here, some of your homework problems, they try to trick you a little bit. They have the time in months, and you have to convert that to years. But on your quiz, it will be, I will be giving you the time as in years, so you won't have to worry about that. Only on your homework. So let's look over here. So if we have this equation, principal times the rate times the time, I have my knowns. I'm going to set it up as a multiplication problem. So we have 8,000 times. Now the 14%, we need to represent that as a decimal. So remember, just times it by 0.01, and it should be 0.14. So I'm just going to put that in parentheses to protect that. Times, and our years, and remember, if you plug 1/2 into the calculator, you'll end up with a decimal 0.5. So that's 1.5 years. And when you plug that all in, you should end up with a value of 1,680. And that's your simple interest.